Hey guys, I have 2 openings to take on factory partnerships where I'll be your partner on Amazon. You would work directly with me and sell through one of our accounts. If this is of interest to you, please email me directly, danny@sellersessions.com. Also, we're now open to take on more clients for our PPC agency Databrill. You can visit sellersessions.com/agency for more details and also request some of our new case studies. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, turning around your business, some troubleshooting, dealing with ranking or PPC issues, you can book 1-hour consults via sellersessions.com/consultancy. Basically, this is a cost-effective way to troubleshoot your business and get a video recording of the session so you're able to put it into action post-call. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Let's dive straight back in. The types of URLs and discuss search and buy. I think we should start with both agencies here. You guys have got your own sophisticated technology. So do you want to basically go into that and give us all your IP so everyone could steal it? No, I'm joking. Can you give us a little bit of background on the kind of URLs which you can reveal and what's working at the moment?
Yeah, I'm skeptical that all of this can be greatly manipulated by a URL anyway. I mean, for the longest time, we had super URLs which injected the fake QID, and then everybody said those just don't work anymore. And then we had storefront, and everybody said those just don't work anymore. And now there's a company out that does super URLs with the injected QID again. All these new school sellers are like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever!" And I'm like, that was the coolest thing ever like 4 years ago. Like what's going on here? And and then I've got people that I respect in the industry basically saying, "Oh, well, we saw ranking do this with this URL." And I've even written articles where we analyzed the data and this URL did this and this URL did that. And I'm slowly coming to the conclusion that I'm not sure that the URL has much of an effect on those results. I think that the closest that you can get to an organic scenario is going to always win out. I've seen more than I can count anecdotal stories from people saying that they're implementing a search, find, buy methodology and killing it with fewer units in quicker amounts of times than a lot of launches I've seen. And then with our own data, we have a URL that tries to mimic that as much as possible.
That's heat seeker, isn't it? That basically imitates
without fail from the beginning of us doing it to every single other URL we've ever found. We've always tested against it, and without fail, it's always outperformed. And that told us something that we realized 4 years ago, and everybody else now, I think, will agree. The closer you get to an organic scenario, the better Amazon's going to react to that situation. So that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah. I'd like to bring Paul in here because you've done a lot of that with the bots, haven't you, in terms of search and buy? What's your experience?
Yeah, pretty much. So over the past 2 years, we've just been playing around testing with the whole bot stuff. And what we found here is that I actually stopped using any type of URL, and that all my customers actually tell them to search and buy the product, actually search for the keyword, so on and so forth. What we did extra was that we gave them the coupon code, but we told them this coupon code is random. We have no idea what the value is. Yeah, we do. But we told them that. The reason being is that there could be anywhere from 10% to 8% off. But then they have to actually, to find out what the value is, they have to add that product to the checkout, and add to cart, and then use the coupon code. So essentially, a lot of it is shopping cart abandonment, but they still search for your product, found the product, add to cart, use coupon code. And I found that a lot of times with the customers, even if they only got like a 30% discount, because they went through all those steps, a lot of them will just say, yeah, buy, because it's one more click for them. So in my case, using bots, because it's always cold traffic, so I'm always using brand new customers all the time, search and buy. I'm seeing some really good results there. It really is. And that's essentially all I do now for myself, my clients, customers, everything, just the search and buy. And we've seen some good effects there.
Paul, I'm really, really curious because I was in China just at the end of the year, and everyone was talking about how, so in China, I mean, there's all kinds of underground black markets related to Amazon. And, one of them being people actually, buy the algorithm updates from Amazon employees. Like, I mean, this is well known in China. Like they'll buy like the actual algorithm itself, like wireframed out, like decision trees. I'm talking like it's really nuts. But one of the things that everyone was talking about that, you know, I heard from multiple different sources was that just in the last like 3 months, in the last quarter, that add to carts have exploded that the algorithm has way increased the value that it puts towards add to carts. That was the one, like there were all kinds of changes that were minor, but that was the major change that, okay, add to carts mean a lot more now in the algorithm. I don't know why that is. I could pontificate why that would be, but why aside, since you have this strategy where there are going to be a lot of cart abandonments, I wonder, like, have you noticed a change in the last couple months where the strategy is more effective?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, so I've been running the strategy now solidly now for about 6 months. And it took quite a while to figure it out. But the last 6 months, and over the last, I would say about 3-4 months, have I seen a lot more effect. Again, I don't know that data you just told me. I just assumed it was Q4.
You have seen a greater effect in the last?
I've seen a much better effect now on add to cart. The thing
that's
is,
perfectly in line with what everyone was saying at when I just came from the Chinese.
I've tested that. I heard about that back in September, and I tested that, and you can actually get no buys and just they call it brushing, whatever, a bunch of add to carts, and you'll rank, dude. You will rank hard. You can rank without losing units now, depending on the specific niche. So on a lot of the niches I'm going into with like medium, low demand, I have a list, and if it goes add to cart, search ASIN, just ASIN, Amazon.com/ASIN, and I get 100 add to carts. I'm on the first page on the keyword. And I'm sticking for like 2 weeks. And then it starts to convert. I mean, no reviews, no anything.
I mean, it would make sense. I've heard a lot of shady characters doing the whole Facebook promo thing and purposely giving out the wrong coupon code because that way they'll add to cart and then you can't use coupon code. But I've seen some really good effects from that from even other people. So yeah, it makes sense.
But the thing is, it always gets me, this whole add to cart thing. One of the biggest things for a commerce store is to deal with cart abandonment, right? That's one of the key things, isn't it? How do you optimize cart abandonment? You're spending this money to bring them into the funnel and then they drop out the other end. Yet, for some reason, A9 gives some kind love to it. It's like, no, go to the cart, but then don't buy it and we'll give you some love.
It's the reason they love it is because if they made it all the way to the cart, it's proven to Amazon that this is a relevant product for the keyword and deserves to rank.
Yeah.
But they are also the largest shopping platform in America. They understand that an X percentage amount of people, a large one in fact, abandon their cart. So they've taken it upon themselves to kind of go to task with how do we fix abandoned carts, which is a completely separate initiative. Point is the product proved itself when it made it to the cart, and then Amazon's like, okay, now it's our job to get them back, which is why they do all the retargeting and everything that they do. They're doing everything they can to lower the abandoned cart because that's an issue every shopping platform has. Yeah. So I think that's why.
Exactly. And I suppose because the sheer size of the marketplace, the people that are pulling the strokes with the add to cart is so small in relative terms that they can get away with it. Obviously, you have to be a bit careful, I suppose, because of getting suspended, and if you're using bots and tools and stuff.
That's a lot of the reason why people, individuals, and even services get away with using, like the data leak that recently got plugged up. Why didn't Amazon ever step in and go, hey, because you realize that they didn't even plug the leak. The only reason that it got plugged was because they changed their technology. And when they changed from one thing to another thing, that other thing no longer facilitated that leak. Why didn't Amazon ever step in and go, we don't want you guys to have this data? It wasn't because they were letting it slide. It was because even with services, there was such a small fraction of their traffic that was actually pulling that data. It wasn't even a blip. There's probably like 7 services in the whole world that were using it, and it wasn't even a blip on their radar. Like nobody had a clue enough to care. And
but and the thing is with that, because everyone went on the charm offensive to say it's not available anymore, and that Amazon no longer gives it to them. And I was cracking up because it's like, Amazon didn't give it to you. You hacked the shit out of it. You got it because you went through a back door. So I thought that was quite funny. But then let's actually, while we're on the subject, let's kind of address this search volume thing. Where do you think it's going to go now? Because obviously having that real data was quite handy. But with that loop being exposed for what, a year, 18 months in total, maybe? I know the bigger services jumped on it in a year. So you got a year's worth of data there. With a year's worth of data, you can do quite a lot in terms of calculation, which still won't be perfect. But then what is the knock-on effect? Anyone?
So I know in my circles, a lot of people are losing their mind over the whole search volume being removed away. But like, if we look at all the old Amazon says have been on for years, essentially that search volume was basically just common sense with PPC. We can get all that data already, and we can figure out the long tails and the long scheme, everything. And what I really think here is that this is going to scare off newbies and just help the experienced sellers just be more predominant in the marketplace.
Yeah. Anthony?
I mean, here's the thing. This is a tough one because, like, I agree with what Paul said. Like, we obviously didn't have exact data for a long time, but before we had exact data, everybody was still using imperfect data, like Merchant Words had, for example, because in any strategy on Amazon, keyword volume is kind of a crux. And it's just because it gives us some indication whether or not we're going in the right direction, right? Regardless of whether or not it's even imperfect. It's the fact that, am I going after a big keyword, or am I, stupidly going after a keyword that only gets 300 searches a month and doesn't have any volume at all? Nobody searches for it, right? So it's like, at very least, it kind of guides you. So I think it is an important issue. But we did get real spoiled with the leaked data.
But this is going back to my point now that people will create an algorithm based on a year's worth of data, whereas before they didn't have it. So whereas before they were using the API from, I don't know, AdWords API and Bing, etc., compiling that together and then writing, an algorithm around it to extrapolate the information and say, right, this is roughly what the search volume data is going to be, which was horseshit most of the time. But people swallowed it up because there was nothing else in the marketplace to deal with. Now they have real data. So if they've got 12 months worth of data, that data is still pretty good. I think that's going to be 50 to 75% better.
We're going to see a lot of the services coming out with these awesome algorithms. And the thing is regardless of whether or not they're awesome, people are going to eat it up because everybody in our industry has shiny object syndrome. Right?
Yes.
They're going to get it regardless. And the thing is it might actually be helpful for a few months, but as time goes on, there's going to be a wider and wider disparity. And the reason is because that Amazon volumes even change so much. They have new categories of volume, new keywords that weren't ever even a thing before. They have they're susceptible not just to seasonal changes, but market changes through years, right? Think about fidget spinner. Right, fidget spinner actually was a keyword at one point that got no volume, and then it got all the volume that you could possibly imagine, and then it got no volume anymore. This type of algorithm wouldn't be able to account for that kind of thing. So eventually we're going to see the problem arise again where people are like, well, what do we do? What do we use? And my advice always was, even before we had the exact data, was use whatever tool you're comfortable with that gives you some idea of what you're looking at. I personally think that headline search ads, which not everybody has access to, but I understand some services might be able to give access. I don't know. But headline search ads, for example, even the low, medium, high, I think is really valuable because it comes directly from Amazon, right? Yeah. And it's like, it's some kind of an indication, however you have access to it, to know that you're going in the right direction. But I really think that it'll behoove people to do more of what you were just saying. And that is use your eyes. Stop relying so much on services. Use your own eyes. Aside from just looking at the images, you can also look at your competitor listings and see the types of keywords that they're using in their listings, right? Like, don't necessarily rip them off, but mimicry is a form of flattery. It's also an effective business strategy, right? To take cues from that. I really think we're going to see a shift more that, like, it's always been an art and a science, this selling on e-commerce. I think we're going to see a shift into more of it being an art. And because the science is obviously going to erode away the more Amazon tightens its grip on the data. So that's just my take on it.
I definitely think you're going to get more of an explosion now. It's almost like in some circles that black hat is totally acceptable. And so I think more and more people will start buying these ASIN reports to get the real data. I'm not encouraging it, but that's what I think that will start to move to. Unless Amazon shuts down what's going on in their own offices.
There's too many leaks to plug, in my opinion. I mean, with Amazon in China and India, even in the U.S. at this point, they have leaks coming from all over the place.
Yeah.
And, from my point of view, is like, at this point, it's not even worth fighting with the black hat guys. If you know they're doing black hat, you just try and steer away from them. Eventually, they'll blow up their own account. But if you report them to Amazon, then someone inside of Amazon could tell them that you reported them, and then they'll message you and attack you.
That's
How
it.
That happen?
Maybe because I've never got that mentality where you're sitting there basically instead of running your own business, is spending all your time reporting people. I understand people do it, and I understand that people reporting people that affects them directly, but to sit there every day rather than select a new product in a new area to just do reporting all day, that's beyond me. I've never got that mentality. I have a friend who hired a VA just to do this, but he's getting attacked left and right. I mean, he has more account suspensions than anyone else I know. He went through like 20 last year. And I said, dude, why don't you just let them, do their hustle, just let them have their hustle, that's it. But the thing is, you don't have to win every battle, but you need to win the war. So winning the war is like, accept it. Like, let's put a bit of logic in place here. If you get a slab of plastic out of China and you sell it on a US marketplace, the chances are the Chinese are going to be able to sell that plastic cheaper than you and have deeper pockets than you. So what do?
Correct.
Don't sell that cheap bit of plastic that they can do. Go and find something that's got a moat around it and sell that instead. Because I think that's half the problem.
Either that or just keep launching more products, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all the successful sellers, I knew some sellers who hit, one product at $6 million, and now that kid can't even struggle to make, $200,000 a year. Because what he used to be able to sell for $25, he can't give away for $9 anymore. The days are over when it was easy like that. The people who actually do stuff are people who build the brands, like Anthony posted on Facebook the other day. And this is the best way to go. I won't work with any client unless they're building a brand, because it's not a long-term strategy.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and you see, I see a lot as a Amazon customer myself more. Like, I always try to notice trends myself when I'm shopping on Amazon as a customer. And I feel like I see more and more brands that have like a real identity and character. And maybe the founder's story is, like shown in the enhanced brand content, or the farm where the tea came from, or, whatever. You can see I'm a tea drinker. I see more and more of that, just myself as a customer. So that shows. And if you back up, because I think stuff with this reporting each other and keeping up with black hat tactics and stuff like that, it's really spinning your wheels and really short term. Like, if you just back up and look at, okay, where's the whole ecosystem heading? Like, where's the whole market heading? Then you can make decisions now that will help you like 2 years down the road, because where the whole thing is heading. Yeah. And that allows you to to not be spinning your wheels every day and be busy, like you were just saying, like reporting this or, finding out that new tactic or whatever. Like you can make decisions for a brand that actually lead to like long-term growth, which, it's less time for you because you're not spinning your wheels, keeping up with the rumor mill. And it's also more sustainable for the business too. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's just always like a fundamental, I think.
Sounds good.
I disagree a little bit, man. I always want to know what's going on in the black hat world and the white hat world.
For sellers. Like for us, we have to because it's our job.
We're bloody nerds.
It's our job to know that. Like for it, that's our job. But I'm talking to sellers right now, like the ones who are listening to this. Like you really shouldn't be like spending your time spinning your wheels in the rumor mill, like spending hours digging through forums and stuff like that. You really should be spending your time, like Danny said, developing products that really offer value, that deliver an awesome that have some kind of unique selling proposition so they stand out and that tell a nice story and have like an identity and character to them. Because like in 2015 or 2014, almost all of the first page search results of anything that you searched were just opportunistic sellers with no brand identity whatsoever that had just ranked and, had kind of the cookie cutter like listing, created. And it was like, people bought that because that's what showed up. But I feel like I see more and more like legit good, good brands like coming to the top kind of naturally.
Hey guys, that's it from us. Please rejoin us again in a few days' time.